Welcome to the Chronically Healthy Life show. When you hear the word chronically, do you automatically associate it with chronic disease? We all do. It's been programmed right into us. But what if we flip that whole idea on its head? Let's discover how we can create chronic health in our bodies, our minds, our finances, our relationships, and of course, in our lives. Let's jump right on in. I'm Andy, and joining me in everything is Minna.
So happy New Year again! So tomorrow is Chinese New Year. Yay! So remind me of the Muppet Show.
And you can see we're decked out for the Year of the Dragon.
Yeah, we love the dragon. So talking about New Year's, we're about a month into the whole New Year's resolution thing, and you heard a lot of people, they resolve to eat healthier, to exercise more, but you don't hear them a lot about saying, "I want to clean up my lymphatic system."
So true. And, the lymphatic system is like cleaning out the closet. It's something that you should do, but you never do. And it keeps piling up. And then one day you have a catastrophe when you open that door and everything falls down. It's like your health. If you neglect your lymphatic system, someday your health just collapses.
So maybe you can tell our viewers what exactly does a lymphatic system do, and why should they maybe think about having that as part of their goals?
Well, the lymphatic system is basically just a network of blood vessels and lymph nodes throughout your whole body, and it carries fluids, basically, from your tissues to your blood, and then back from your blood to your tissues. So it's basically your body's inner drainage system, right? But it's very neglected for a lot of people, and the thing that's really important is the lymphatic system. It supports your immune system, right? It also lowers inflammation. And when your lymphatic system is all backed up, out of balance, you can get infections easier. You can get sick all the time, right? And it all could be just a faulty lymphatic system that you may have, like really backed up.
So we follow a functional doctor
Mhm.
in this Dr. Jockers, right? And
Yes.
he makes this really nice blogs on various topics. And one of these is how do you cleanse your lymphatic system? But first of all, he says the lymphatic system can get congested.
Hmm.
So maybe how do you get congested systems? Is it like a sewage problem?
It's almost like a sewage problem, right? It's like when you do things too much, that's when problems come. It's like chronic problems, right? So if you have stress, occasional stress is okay, but if you have stress all the time, that can cause chronic inflammation. Right? Inflammation when you cut your hand, cute, you can fix right away. But just imagine, keep after you cut one hand, you cut the next one, you hit the next one. It's endless. You don't want that, right? If you have digestive imbalance, if you have gut imbalance, or a big one for a lot of people that the lymphatic is all messed up is they're not drinking enough water, right? I'm always telling people you need to drink half your body weight in water, and for some it's easier than others, to be honest, right? Depending on really how far you let it go, right? Because half your body weight for some people might be a lot, but you still need to do it, right? If you want to clear out your lymphatic system, because it's your way of cleansing your blood, the way of cleansing your viruses and stuff like that. And moving, that's always important, right? Lacking physical activity is a big problem. So if you're not moving, you're not going to be moving the lymphatic system. It's not like your heart where it's pumping blood. You actually need to move to activate your lymphatic system. And toxins, right? We're very big in toxins, from chemicals in our food, pesticides, chemicals in the water. A lot of that can come through and can back up your lymphatic system. And the last one is nutrient deficiencies, right? If you are nutrient deficient, it can cause backups in your lymphatic systems also.
So how can you tell your lymphatic system is congested?
Oh, if you're tired all the time, right? You're feeling fatigue, if you see stiffness. For me, it's very easy. I look at people, and if they're sort of like,
The wiggle waggle?
yeah, the wiggle waggle, they're sort of shifting in the chair, they cannot sit comfortably. I can tell they're stiff, they just can't get comfortable, or they're experiencing muscle and joint pain. Like a lot of you that may be experiencing muscle and joint pain, it's not because you exercise too much or you're not moving enough. Maybe it's you're just not having good lymphatic system. What are some other good ones that you think of?
Well, bloating, I guess, is kind of self-explanatory. You can actually feel it when you
Oh
bloat
yeah,
it, for
and you
sure.
see it too, for sure.
Right? Some of the other ones make you like an itchy, dry skin, maybe a brain fog,
Hmm.
headaches, weight gain, swollen glands. Some people will have cold hands and feet,
Hmm.
maybe a chronic sinusitis,
Hmm.
cold sore throats, ear infection, skin problems, even cellulite. So it's interesting because all of these symptoms, sometimes you may actually go see a doctor and they would never tell you to cleanse the lymphatic system. They'll just blame it on something else, or they just say nothing wrong with you. But maybe that's what the cause of it, and it could be just as simple as cleansing your lymphatic system.
I agree because I think a lot of times these symptoms that we talk about, they may even mistaking you that you're having a cold flu, or these, oh well, you have an overactive immune system or something like that, right?
Mhm.
But like you said, it could be just a backed up lymphatic
Yeah,
system.
yeah. We know a few friends that's always getting colds and flus and sore throats like
Seriously,
throughout
almost
every
weekly,
month.
right?
Like,
Yeah, yeah, exactly. They get over it, and then they have again an ear infection, runny nose, red eyes. It's like,
right? They keep taking antibiotics, they keep going to the doctor,
yeah,
and they keep getting colds and flus.
exactly. And I'm sure they're not doing any of these things that we're going to recommend how to clear your congested
So how exactly do
lymphatic
you
system.
clear congestion?
Well, the first one is deep breathing. Exactly. Deep breathing is so important. I think a lot of people that do meditation, they teach that, like, half the breathing and stuff like
Mhm.
that. We've done that once, and I swear I almost passed out in a yoga class. It was like so
That's
intense.
very extreme
Right.
breathing.
You can see the whole rib cage lift up. That was a little bit too hard for us. But I think even doing meditation will help with the deep breathing, right? Of course, we just talked about drinking half your body weight in water. Optimal hydration is important, and we're going to talk a little bit about electrolytes later on today on a biohack. But staying hydrated is so important to clear your lymphatic system.
And of course, exercising, rebounding. We have a rebound thingy.
Yeah, the little mini
Yeah,
trampoline.
just
It's just
bounce
like,
around.
yep, just bounce around, just get let out that inner child, bounce around. It gets the lymph moving. If you have compression pants, or compression pants is like what athletes use.
Mhm.
It's almost like a little massage on
Yeah,
your
I
legs,
love
right?
something. It's
Yeah,
very
correct, correct.
for sure. Dry brushing, which kind of feels weird. Tried it before, and it's like it kind of feels like you're just scaling a fish.
Yeah, dry brushing. We should have brought a dry brush. It just looks like a large toothbrush with a long, and then you just sort of like brushing away from your heart, right, from each side, and you're brushing down your sides, and yeah, it's weird because it's not wet; it's just dry, and you just feel the little bristles. I imagine that's probably more fun for something else rather than clearing your lymphatic system.
I don't know, but you can also do like bioactive carbon, some kind of herbal therapies that will help relieve your congestion in the sympathetic system.
Exactly. And the next one is cold hot showers. That's something that I love to do, and I'm always telling people to do. And it's really quite simple. In your 5 to 10 minutes of showers, just alternate from the hottest you can bear to the coldest you can bear every minute or so, right?
Of course, go get some massage. This is like the wonderful way of relaxation.
Exactly. Specifically, you should try find a massage therapist that specializes in lymphatic massage, because it's very different from, say, lomi lomi or hot zone massage.
Or like a deep tissue massage.
Yeah, totally different than
Hmm.
than a lymphatic, right?
So that masseuse would know what an lymphatic massage is.
Yes, a massage therapist, not a we don't call them masseuses that right. And the last one, of course, saunas are very important,
Sometimes.
and any type of saunas that can get you to sweat is very important. Infrared would be best, but even if you have your gym, you have your conventional saunas, that would be a great way to sweat out to clear your lymphatic system.
Great. So I hope this helps, and we're going to take a break. And Kirsty and her secret guest will be right back.
We'll see you soon.
Hey, everybody, welcome to Kids Corner. So I was talking to a very busy mom of 4 kids this week, and she was telling me that her PTA is doing a school carnival thing for all the kids. She has young children. And she was saying that they had decided they were all going to make sugar cookies and sell them at the bake sale. And I said, well, why don't you get the kids involved in that? And she looked at me like, how would I do that? And I said, well, why don't you just, have the kids help you make the sugar cookies? They get to cut them out. They love doing that. And then ask everybody to do that with their kids. And then when they come to the bake sale, they all get to share their cookies. And she said, oh, well, I can't do that because none of the moms know how to make sugar cookies. And I'm like, well, then how about you set up a time, do a Zoom call, set up your camera in your kitchen, give them a list ahead of time of all the ingredients and every tools that they need, and then have everybody get their kids in the kitchen via Zoom, and you guide them through the process of making the cookies with your own kids there, and just have fun and relax and enjoy it. Everybody gets to make sugar cookies. And then when you go to the bake sale, all the kids get to decorate each other's cookies. That way, you're teaching them so many things, including that mom doesn't have to do everything for us. We get to be involved. The kids will be much more invested. And it just becomes fun. It becomes bonding. It becomes cooperation. It's a great learning experience and a great just life experience all the way around. So my recommendation to you is, hey, think outside that box. How can you bring your kids in, relax, have some fun, and still get the job done? Okay, ciao.
We all hope to age gracefully so we can enjoy later years with energy, vitality, and good health. But so often with age, our bodies show signs of things just aren't the same as they used to be. Our energy, skin, healing recovery time, and sleep all go downhill. If you had physical trauma that happened to your body like I did, this happens much faster. I felt like a 30-year-old trapped in an 80-year-old body. But do you remember as kids, the boundless energy we had, how fast we recovered? This is not because of getting old, but because of active stem cells inside our bodies. These are the cells that can generate and regenerate all the cells and structures in the human body. They are the building blocks of our organs, tissues, blood, and immune system. They also serve as an innate repair system everywhere inside the body. But as we get older, stem cell activity slows down, become less effective in repairing damage, and decline. By the age of 20, we only have 1 billion stem cells left. By 30, they decline by 60%. By 50, they decline by 75%. 60 by 90%. And by 80, we're lucky to have 50 million active stem cells. But what if we can naturally stimulate our bodies to reactivate and regenerate new stem cells through phototherapy without drugs? Now we can with our LifeWave X39 stem cell activation patches. Reclaim your youth and look younger, feel stronger, perform better, and heal faster. Get your patches now at lifewave.com/chronically healthy life. It's not anti-aging, it is reverse aging.
Hello and welcome back to the Chronically Healthy Life Show. I am so excited to introduce our guest today. Susan Haworth holds a bachelor's degree in psychology, 2 master's degrees, and postmaster's credentials in counseling. She has provided counseling, coaching, and training to individuals, families, and executives for over 4 decades. Susan is the owner of Cambios Coaching and Consulting. She specializes in providing individual and couples counseling and coaching for step parents. Ooh, good topic. Susan's monthly advice column, The Stepmom Whisperer, appears in Stepmom magazine. She has been featured in the Wall Street Journal and on national and international radio, podcast, and television programs. Her book, A Change Would Do You Good, Proven Strategies for Creating the Life You Want, which came out January of 2022, is available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and through independent booksellers nationwide. She is also the author of the forthcoming book, The Stepmom Whisperer. She and her family live in Northern California. Welcome, Susan. I'm so happy to have you here today.
Thank you, Christy. It's great to be with you. Thanks.
Thank you. Well, I'm very intrigued by our topic of step families today because I think, generally speaking, there are probably more step families now than nuclear families. So let's jump right in.
Great.
So I know everybody knows the divorce rate for second marriages with children remains very high. So why do you think that is?
Yeah, it hasn't budged much, Christy, from about 70%. And for first marriages, it's still around 50%. Sometimes it goes a little lower, but it remains very high for second marriages and third marriages with children. There are so many stressors. Well, first of all, there are a lot of stressors just living with somebody else, right? Just marriage in general. Okay. Then you add children. They come all at once. They come fully formed, and they're not your own. You probably have to co-parent because about 90% of step families are formed because of divorce, about 10% death. So likely you have to co-parent, which is never easy. So those stressors of dealing with children who aren't your own, of dealing with another household, they compound the existing stressors of just forming a new union.
Oh, absolutely. Marriage and marriage is stressful enough. Marriage is in the top 3 on the stress threshold. Marriage, divorce, and death of a loved one are the 3 top, I think.
Yeah.
Or marriage, divorce. No, I'm wrong. Marriage and divorce are on the same level. And then moving. So a lot of times
changing jobs, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And then you're adding children, which children are stressful anyway. Just because you're responsible for a little human.
Exactly. And you think about this, Christy, when you have biological children, usually in a first marriage, first union, you have some time to work out co-parenting with your spouse, to how you're going to parent. You have some binding times without the kids, but not so in a second marriage. You're immediately thrown in, and the kids appear all at once, not one at a time, which is true for first families. So it's and you don't have time to work out your systems.
No, and your systems are organically going to be different because you're a different person than in our case, their mom, but their dad too, and it could cause friction, like, wait, you don't do things the right way because my mom does it different.
Exactly. And it usually does cause friction. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's a toughie.
Sometimes people will say to me, well, isn't it like adoption? And I say, actually, it is nothing like adoption. The only common denominator is that at least one parent is not the biological parent. But adoption, by definition, you don't co-parent in adoption. You usually have the children very young. Whereas in step families, you can get them all over the place. You teenagers, adults, so it's not just little babies that you have to parent, but you have to, as I said, parent fully formed human beings.
Yes, and when you say co-parent, you're meaning the 2 biological parents that have now formed different families having to co-parent with their step and with their natural parent, right? All that co-parenting going on.
Exactly. And then the other stressor is that we have a lot of blurry boundaries with step families. So in first families, we do afford them autonomy and privacy. People usually do that. I mean, we may have, in-laws who are troublesome, but for the most part, we're left alone. Well, that is not true for step families. what is very common for step families is for the exes to just come into the house uninvited. You know, they're picking up children, they're dropping off children. I know you're looking like this, but it is so common, Christy. So many people talk about their spouse's ex having a key to their house and coming in to retrieve soccer shoes or whatever, but they just come in uninvited. This does not happen with first families.
Definitely not. That would be very disruptive.
It is. It is.
Yes.
So the privacy isn't there for second families, and the boundaries. The kids are confused. They have what we call boundary ambiguity. So they don't know who their allegiances are to, and mostly it's to their biological parent, of course. So for them, reporting back what they've seen and heard in the other family is like, of course I should do that. My mom should know what my stepmom is doing. So again, that is not an issue with first families, but it is with second families. A lot of my clients have said, I feel like I'm living with spies. And, you're under surveillance in your own home.
I can relate to that from all my years as a teacher.
Yeah.
And then there were those kids that would, always be saying, oh, the teacher said I didn't have to do this. And then I get this angry note and it's like, I didn't say that. And it's listed in the homework and it's all over the internet, and, just take a look and it's all there, and maybe kind of remember, like, there are some kids that just do that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think the children of divorce, there's trauma involved, and they're not sure, how they should feel about, let's say, their new stepmother. And so, reporting back about what is going on seems like that's their job. So, yeah.
Well, I would think that there would be certain situations with an extremely dysfunctional original parent where there's a divorce and then there's a new step parent, whether it's male or female, who is not dysfunctional. That, I've seen it go both ways, where the kid either wants to stay with the dysfunctional parent or they want to get away and go, they like the step parent better because they're not, making them crazy all the time. Have you ever dealt with something like that?
Yeah, and that's rare. So the family loyalty issue is really big for most children of divorce. And so even though their mom may be, dysfunctional or not parent well or whatever, they still feel like it's their mom and they have to be loyal to her. So that's what we see a little bit more often. And that makes it really hard for the new parent to form a partnership and to feel that one of the conditions, especially stepmoms, feel like perennial outsiders. There's just no room for them in the system. And although I deal with divorced dads, I have a few clients who are divorced dads. I don't have clients who are just stepdads. And there is a reason for that. So stepmoms, women in our society and many societies were groomed as caregivers, caretakers, were groomed as nurturers, were given a lot of responsibility in families. We put those expectations on ourselves that we're going to be helping this family in every way possible. I mean, still to this day, we can have full-time jobs, but we're still doing the lion's share of the household, right? That has not changed as much as we'd hoped it would. So there are a lot of expectations on women. We put a lot of expectations on ourselves, not so for men. So for stepdads, if they're breathing in and out, if they're showing up occasionally, we're good. We just don't have a lot of expectations for them. We don't care if they interact with our kids. That's it. So they're given a big pass. Now, I do know that some stepdads struggle. I mean, that is true. I'm speaking in general terms here.
Yeah.
So some stepdads struggle, but not to the extent that stepmoms do. Mm-hmm. We see this in the depression and anxiety that's reported among stepmoms. Women have a higher rate of depression and anxiety than men do to start with. But as a subcategory, stepmoms have among the highest rate of anxiety and depression. It just kind of hits us where it hurts, our self-esteem.
Oh, definitely. I could see that I can see that. Yeah.
Absolutely.
There's that, the whole myth of the evil stepmother. I think it's a ridiculous myth, but let's move into that, because you're telling us some things about stepmoms that people I've never thought about, even though I was a stepmom at one point in my life. This is resonating with me because it's making me feel validated.
Oh, good.
What I went through.
I was hoping it wasn't making you feel bad, so it's making you feel validated. Yes. Yeah. The truth is, when I became a stepmom 28 years ago, I had considered myself a pretty successful person up until that point. And then it's like I could do nothing right. It's, I mean, my stepkids hated my cooking, it's just everything. So I started feeling like I am not equipped to do this. I am not good enough. That is for sure. And it is, as you said, it's fueled by some of the myths that we have incorporated. Disney did us no service. And so we kind of go overboard. We don't want to be the evil stepmom. So then we become, okay, I'll do everything for you. I'll cook, I'll clean, I'll clean out the fireplace. I'll do everything. I'll prepare all your meals. I'll do your laundry, even though you're 21. So we overfunction. That's the word that I use to try to right the wrong that we saw in Disney and grim fairy tales. I mean, it goes way back. Yeah. And then we had those crazy television shows. I grew up with the Brady Bunch. So when I became a stepmom, all of my problems were going to be solved in 30 minutes or less. And we were going to have such a good time.
Oh, yes. Yes.
And our problems were going to be so hilarious.
Yes.
Well, that's not exactly the way it went. And that isn't how it goes for most stepmoms.
No, because most stepmoms have a job. Carol Brady did not have a job. And she had a housekeeper that took care of all that stuff. And we don't usually have housekeepers. We have to do it all ourselves.
Exactly. So what happened? Where did I go wrong? Yeah. So we come to, and both parties, we come to our stepfamily with a lot of fantasies and unrealistic expectations on both sides. And we don't talk about them, those fantasies and those expectations. And that's what gets us into trouble from day one.
Isn't that always true, though? I mean, the lack of communication can be at the root of so many things that, and I'm talking genuine communication. in my case, I was married to a horrible narcissist, and their communication didn't exist because it was the narcissist game of blame and deny, lie and deny, and all that. So there was no my attempts at communication were met with really nasty comments like, don't make me choose between you and the kids. And I'm like,
yeah.
I'm not saying anything. I'm telling you, your kids this is what is happening. The school is calling me. This is happening. You're their dad. And so
Exactly.
that's a rough one.
What you just said, Christy, I hear all the time is that the dads feel like they have to choose between their children and their new partner, which is not the case. So, the divorced dads are very confused people. I mean, they tend to try to make everybody happy and making nobody happy, right? So they've got a new partner and then they've got an ex and they're trying to make the ex happy. Why? I don't know. They give her a lot more power than she warrants, than she deserves, but they're trying to make her happy. And then they've got that dad guilt, that divorced dad guilt. And so that means that they're not going to discipline their kids. We call them Disney dads.
Yes.
But they're also Disney parents. There are plenty of women who overindulge their kids too. But then we have to live, if we're stepmoms, we have to live with children who are, spoiled and who are not disciplined. How much fun is that? It's no fun. So those are all the complexities. But yes, communication, if you don't have that, it's hard for a relationship to survive.
Oh, definitely. It is.
But Christy, I've been on a mission here. So my mission is to untangle the web between the bio mom and the stepmom, because it shouldn't be. I hear a lot how, oh my God, the ex is such a crazy woman and she blah 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 blah, and the bio mom says, oh, my children's stepmom is a witch. Now they're both on the side of the children, and so they don't have to be besties, but they have to cooperatively co-parent. And I think what happens sometimes, and I bet you can relate to this is that we start blaming the ex and letting our spouse, our partner, off the hook. So the partner, your new partner, is probably responsible for some of the bad feelings and for what has right? And yet we don't want to see it. So we're blaming the crazy ex. And I'm on a mission for women to work together. Again, you don't have to have lunch together, but to just be cooperative. When it comes to co-parenting. And to look at the reality of what is it your partner is doing or not doing that's contributing to the contention.
Right. Which in some cases might lead to another divorce or it might really heal the relationship. But either way, there's some deepening of the truth and the balancing of the realities for the benefit of the kids.
Absolutely. And there is an upside to conflict. I mean, you can, when done well, you can talk about your needs, you can talk about your beliefs, and you can get closer to your partner. But without talking, it's near impossible. Because the answer is not avoiding conflict. That only leads to resentments. But is to be able to talk openly and civilly with your partner about what's going on, and to make new rules and new protocols for your new household. So one of the things I say, we're not plug and play devices. I mean, we don't just like take a partner, plug her in, and just hit play. And the same old rules, the same old protocols, that's not the way it works in our modern society. It might have worked in the 19th century, but we do need to sit down and talk, and the earlier the better, but it's never too late, and say, okay, how are we going to run this household? What are our rules going to be? They may be different from the rules of the first family, but that's fine.
Well, that's exactly right. And then what if both parents are bringing children in and it's an entirely blended family? So then you have this set of kids that have these bio parents and this set of kids who have these bio parents. And now they've got one of each of them and they're trying to make it work. And the kids don't relate to each other the way the bio siblings would. And so that could make it crazy.
It does make it crazy. And because you could have, several different sets of rules and protocols for each household, right? And it's not easy. It's not easy, that's for sure. But we have to establish those rules and those protocols. Christy, I've got to tell you, I don't use the term blended.
Oh, really? What do you use?
No, I don't. And I have a reason for that, because I don't know what it means. Does it mean that you take vacations together? Does it mean that the kids are besties? I don't know what it means. And it puts a lot of pressure on a family, on a second or a third family. It puts a lot of pressure on the kids. It puts a lot of pressure on the adults. And some families never blend. I mean, so the goal or the goals should be mutual respect and peaceful coexistence.
I like that. That's a much better, that just feels lighter. Like, you guys, there's no pressure here for any, for you guys to forced to be a certain way or forced to do anything.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it. It puts a lot of pressure we have our own idea of what blending is. And if we're not that, but we don't even know what it is. It's like, it's a goal that you can never get there because who's defined it?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's why I don't use the term blended. I call them step families. I call them second families. I call them third families, but I don't call them blended families.
I like that. Peaceful coexistence and, based in communication.
If we can get there, that's a success to me. So, and in step, I often get questions, of course I get questions for my advice column, and people will say, when are my stepkids going to love me? And I say, maybe never. That is another myth, is that we're going to be one big happy family and people are going to love each other. I'm going to love this, the adults are going to love their stepkids. The children are going to love each other and they're going to love their step parent. And, it may happen. It may never happen, but that doesn't mean that's the end of your relationship. And the term, even love, we're inadequate when it comes to that word. We can't, we love pizza. We love chocolate ice cream. I love my new range that I bought upstairs, but do we love our stepchildren the way that we love our own children? No, we do not. That's a big ask. So we have to let go of that fantasy, that expectation that our new partner is going to love our kids the way we do. It's not necessary. It's not necessary. But if we go for respect, that's what's good, and all the rest is gravy. So if
Yeah.
late down the road, if you have a wonderful, loving relationship with one or more of your step kids, then that's wonderful. And if it doesn't happen, you can still have a wonderful relationship with your partner.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're going for.
And there's nothing wrong with liking people. I mean, how many times do we say, I love my husband, but I don't like him? And that's a big red flag right there. Or fill in the blank. And it could be wife, it could be brother, sister, whatever. It doesn't matter. And I'm just like, if you don't like them, there's something there that needs to kind of be healed.
Yeah. And it's, the other part of that is when we have our own biological kids, there are times we do not like them or we don't like their behaviors, right? But we do have this thing called unconditional love and acceptance that we're hardwired for. So, we get through the hard times. With our stepkids, it's hard we don't have that unconditional love and acceptance. So it's hard to always, feel like you want them around, and that's okay too. Someone just recently wrote me and they said, I just want to be alone with my partner and I feel so guilty about that. And I think, oh my God, that's what we all wish for. Who wants to have kids hang around for the rest of their lives, right? We want them to be launched. And so it is fine to want your partner all to yourself. And if you build a solid foundation, you'll have that. Mm-hmm. But if you don't, then when the kids leave, you might not have much left.
Right. There's no foundation.
Yeah. And, we're seeing a lot more what they call grave divorces, among seniors, the elderly, and they didn't have that good foundation.
So that makes sense.
So that's what, as in a second family, we definitely need to shore that up with our partners and work on that relationship primarily.
Yes, that totally makes sense. And that's good for the kids too.
Yes. It is totally good for the kids. Yes.
So I'm sorry to cut you off, Susan, but can you tell our viewers how they can reach you? And I understand you also have some free offerings for them.
I do. Yeah. I do. Well, I can be reached. My website is cambioscoaching.com, and it's spelled out there. Cambios means changes in Spanish. People can contact me directly, but Susan at Cambios Coaching. I offer consultations to anyone. I love to talk to people. I guess you can't tell, but I offer free consultations. So you can book one of those on my website. I also have monthly free stepmom support groups, and they're public. You have to register for it, but they're public, meaning that it's not a curated group. Anybody can show up. You can come once, you can come multiple times. I've been doing that for a couple of years. And it's totally free. It's the first Thursday of every month. So,
well, and they can find all that information on your website?
Yes. And if they can't find it, they need to email me. Please email me, and I will help out with that.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Susan. This has been very enlightening. That you really address things that are not part of the common knowledge. I think it's a very important topic.
Thank you, Christy. Yes. It has been great fun for me.
All right, everybody, stay tuned. Coming up next is our biohacking tip of the week.
Welcome back to Chronically Healthy Life. So in our biohacking segment this week, I figured I'll show you how to do an electrolyte drink. Now we have talked about how we put a little bit of salt in our water. Of course, this reverse osmosis water. And that's important because water, when it comes out of tap, is actually not that clean. So you want to make sure that your water is clean. Now, having said that, just putting a salt in the water, sometimes it's not enough if you're doing a lot of sports activities or you're going out and you're dehydrated. Sometimes you need a little more electrolytes. So electrolytes are actually just essential minerals that your body needs to function. And it supports your cell functions, your fluid balance, nerve function, muscle function, tissue repair, and growth. So when you have electrolytes, it kind of helps you heal a little faster during your workouts. And if you buy electrolyte drinks from the store, a lot of times they would have a lot of artificial coloring, artificial sweeteners, also the bad stuff that you actually don't want in your body. So it's easy to make your own, and I'm going to show you how. All you need is water, clean water, reverse osmosis water. So here I have about four cups. And then what you need is about a quarter teaspoon of mineral salt. You can use either Celtic salt or Himalayan salt or Redmond salt, something that has minerals in it. And then I have here a calcium magnesium powder. And one of the popular brands you can easily find is called the Calm, which is a magnesium drink that is meant for to help you sleep. And that's an easy one to buy, or you can have your own calcium magnesium powder. And if you want it a little sweetened, you can add honey to it. So here I have about 2 tablespoons or so of honey. And you can use another monk fruit sweetener or something that you prefer. And as a base, if you want to even boost up a little bit more, instead of water, you can actually use fresh coconut juice or coconut water. And that's all there is. So you just have to mix it up. And if you want it cold, put it back in the fridge and you cool it down, or you can just drink it as is. So this is really good for after your workouts. It will replenish your fluids and rehydrate you, and your post-workout recovery will be a little bit faster. And there you go. Here's your electrolyte drink, and happy Chinese New Year.
Hello, we are Mutts and Meows Rescue, a 501c3 nonprofit, foster-based, no-kill group. Mutts and Meows Rescue pulls dogs and cats from surrounding shelters in the greater Houston area. We even pick up dogs and cats abandoned on the streets. Mutts and Meows Rescue is foster-based and rely on your donations to keep rescuing. To know more about us is to know more about our furry friends and help them find their forever homes. Come visit us at Mutts and Meows Rescue on Facebook today and decide how you can make a difference.
Welcome back to Chronically Healthy Life.
Over.
Over where?
Over just a little bit. Welcome back to Chronically Healthy Life. Isn't it amazing we have TV live? Anyways, what do you think of Susan Haworth?
Well, I'm glad we got her today as a guest, right? Because I personally have no experience with step anything at all in my immediate family. We don't have any situation like that. But when we talk about chronically healthy life, we talk about longevity, environment, independence, and family. And of course, the step family is a big part of the family these days, right? It's at least 50% of them.
Exactly. And, a lot of the tips that she talked about would have been useful for me growing up, because I was just talking to Suzanne.
You were like a closet stepbrother.
Yeah, I grew up until I was 16 years old thinking I had like 5 brothers and sisters together. And then later on, I find out 3 of them from a different mother or different father. And then when I went to Hong Kong, I find another 4 siblings. It's like, wow, it's like typical of how the parent totally messed it up, not sharing information with the children, right? So it was very relevant. I think that was really good tips for families that is considering being step parents, and how you can co-parent. It's very important. I think it's very important, especially in today's families.
Yeah, definitely. Because when you're growing up, we all watched, Cinderella and all this Disney movie that portray stepmother as step monsters, the evil
Exactly.
witch.
From
when the
Snow
poison
White,
apple,
right?
right?
Exactly,
So
exactly.
it's all sorts of that, and that's how we grew up thinking that's what stepmothers are. And in real life, that's just not true, and you just need to grow out of it.
Exactly. And I think it's just opening up your eyes and giving your step family, step parents, stepmoms, stepdads. Apparently, stepmoms get more pressure. You heard about that. We, us dads, we get it easy. But yeah, I think it's important to give them a chance because they want to be part of your family too.
For sure. So who do we have next week?
Next week we have special guest Carrie Cassell. I hope I pronounced her name correctly. We're going to have her next week. And join us here every Friday at 7 p.m. CST. You can watch past episodes at watch.e360tv.com in the Vitality TV network and on our YouTube channel. And if you'd like to know more about what we do and how we can help you live a chronic healthy life, of course, visit us on our website at chronicallyhealthylife.com.
And if any comments were for us or for Christy, drop us a comment on our Facebook page, chronicallyhealthylife.com, or Chronically Healthy Life on Facebook, or email us at anything@chronicallyhealthylife.com. We'll see you next week.
Happy Chinese New Year.
Yay.
I'm Dr. Audrey Tang, a chartered psychologist, and on my show, Mental Health Matters, we take a deep dive into all things mental health and well-being with the experts. So join us at 8 a.m. PST on Thursdays on the Fresh